We are flying today, aren't we? All right. This is Winging It. This is the show hosted by Brad Borsma and Josh Verdonk, who don't want me to say their last names, but sorry. They come here from Ocala Aviation Flight School to teach us about flying and airplanes and all that good stuff. Airports. Good morning, guys.
Morning.
It was so heated when we were talking. See, sometimes shows overlap. It doesn't have to happen.
We weren't heated.
Huh?
We weren't. Yeah, we weren't heated.
You weren't heated? Oh, okay.
No.
All right. So how's everything? What's new at the airport? Let's start there.
Hey, they're keeping the tower open
until June 15th.
Until June 15th.
At least, yep.
And is that going to be extended, or do you have no way of knowing?
No way of knowing. Basically, a bunch of airports filed lawsuits against the FAA because the FAA said, or made a policy or rule, I guess, law, whatever, that in order for them to make a change to the air traffic control system, they must do a risk assessment study. For example, they did 4 months of risk assessment study at Ocala before they put the tower in, just to put the tower in.
So it already went through that test.
Yeah.
Huh?
And so now they say, oh, we're going to close all these towers. Well, they can't do that by their own rule because they have to do a risk assessment. Because they have to assess that, it's not going to be dangerous without the tower now, all right? So they can't just go and say, oh, all these towers are closing without actually going to each tower and assessing the risk of closing it.
Exactly. So that's why they made it June 15th.
Yep. And so all these cities lodged lawsuits against them, and the FAA extended it to June 15th. Now, what's going to happen as we get down to June 15th, I think largely depends on what goes on in these lawsuits. So.
Yeah, because technically by extending out to June 15th, that gives them that window that they're doing their assessments.
So, in other words, they were a little bit irresponsible by saying it was closing earlier than that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, and June 15th, we don't know. We don't know if they're still going to go, okay, we've given the time frame, we've assessed, you're closing. We don't know. I mean, now we're told June 15th is the day. And they may change that again. They may say, forget it. We don't know, unfortunately. Nobody knows.
How was the air show?
It was good. Brad didn't go because he's a party pooper.
Yes.
But I went, and it wasn't as big as previous years, partly because there's been all these budget cuts, and they actually cut most of the air show budgets for all the military. So there was no Blue Angels, no Thunderbirds.
Oh, no.
Not as many.
That's one of the most fun parts.
Yeah,
isn't it?
not as many military showcases, and because of that, there were a lot less people there than they were usually. The air show and the air show itself was good. It wasn't as cool as other times when they have the military stuff there, but it was still a good day. Is
the photo that circulates on the internet where there's two, I guess, Blue Angels flying? One's upside down, one's right side up, and they are like top to top. Is that a real photo?
I don't know if I've seen one that it's the Thunderbirds.
Okay, well maybe
they're
I have
not
the
actually touching.
They're not touching, no.
Because you couldn't, because you
practically are they practical? Is that a real? I mean, if they were just a few inches apart, is that actually possible?
Yeah, they do that, a couple inches apart.
Wow.
And there is a picture. I actually saw it last year. The Thunderbirds they did this pass where one was right side up and one was upside down, and the tail fin
just about touching. Yeah,
it was just about touching.
Okay, now is that actually human skill, or is there computers helping with that? How does that happen?
It's both, because the airplane needs to be capable of it, but at the same time the pilot is making very small, minute adjustments.
Holy mackerel! And
they say something like a quarter of an inch in the wrong direction with the control stick, and it's all over.
Or like a burst of air or something, right? Couldn't ground air or whatever they call it, that updraft?
Most likely. I don't know how they would compensate for that or what they do. I'm not an air show pilot.
All right, we've got a phone. Let me make sure that everybody knows the phone number, because if you're listening and you want to be on the show, it's simple. Just call us at the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 352-622-WOCA. Good morning. You're on the air with Josh and Brad.
Good morning. It's Sarah. I'm late today. I grew up in Pensacola, where the Angels obviously trained. That's their home base there. And we used to, you could just sit and watch them. You didn't have to go to an air show. And, yeah, the cockpit to cockpit, yeah, they do that, and it's amazing. It's not as close as it looks because of perspective, but turbulence and now, I'm not a pilot. My mother was a pilot, and I just paid attention when she talked. Turbulence and updrafts and that sort of thing can make a difference, and that's where skill over computers. But you remember, they've been flying these planes longer than a lot of our current technology has even existed, and that's where the true gift of amazing piloting comes into play. Mm-hmm. But it's a wonder to watch them, just sitting at the beach or on the base and just watch them while they're doing this stuff.
And where was that?
Well, like I said, that's their home base.
Oh,
so we used to just watch them for fun.
Now, have you noticed at all that they've scaled back their training with all the budget cuts at all?
I think that they did their last thing just a couple of weeks ago. I saw it mentioned in the paper. Obviously, I'm not as up on what we think of as local news in Pensacola as I used to be, because I don't live there anymore.
Oh, okay.
But because of the budget cuts, they're not doing any more for the rest of what would be considered the season. I don't know how much of their training has been curtailed. Hopefully, they're still able to train, because that's something that is, for safety, is just vital.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure what other aspects. It was just from a viewer, if you will, an appreciator of the talent and the skill that goes into it. The reason I called, because
Absolutely.
it's like, oh, I know them.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is.
Have a good day. Yeah, no,
awesome.
It's an amazing thing to see.
Very cool.
See, and I have not seen it in person. I've seen it on videos, of course. Good morning. You're on the air with Josh and Brad.
Good morning, Josh and Brad. I have two questions, or a statement and a question.
Okay.
Didn't Ocala or Marion County have to build that tower?
When didn't they have to build it?
Well, they wanted, I didn't say have to. They built it as opposed to the federal government building it?
Yes. I mean, there's grants and loans and all kinds of stuff, but Ocala is the one that pushed to have it open.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, again, you know, for them to just arbitrarily stop manning that thing and shutting the operation down is, you know, do as I say, not as I do type of operation to me that's taken place with this sequestration and all that. Mm-hmm. The other thing I'd like to remind everybody of is this country was the first country to actually have underway fueling as far as ships. And you're taking, say, an aircraft carrier and a couple of destroyers coming up to within 75 feet of a tanker doing 12 knots, and these Leviathan aircraft carriers were doing the same thing. To me, that's skill there. Now, the other thing in refueling, we've also perfected and used air-to-air refueling, and to me, that's long. You know, we had that before we had the myriad of computer-controlled flights, and to come up within well, I don't know how many feet it is that boom comes down, but to come up within that many feet of anything with a jet plane that's designed for hypersonic speeds, etc., etc., to maintain that station so that they can take on 1,000 pounds of fuel or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing that they do that. Yep, it's pretty cool. Yeah, if you think about it, you know, the amount of skill required to be able to fly that close together in formation is insane amount of concentration, I'm sure.
Yeah, but now he brought up the fuel thing. There was a news article about a fuel farm was approved for the Ocala airport. What does that mean?
Okay, it's not. There's a fuel farm already out. The fuel farm is where they have the big tanks.
Right.
Come
okay.
and they fill them, and then then you get other smaller trucks that come and fuel the planes.
Okay.
So they're just basically big holding tanks.
Yes,
that's
what a fuel farm is. We're not farming fuel. We're not digging deeper. We're not doing any of that. It's just that's where, and what it is the fuel farm they have out there now. It needs help. It needs work, and so they are, working on either. Well, this is what I knew before. Apparently, it got approved because that's what everybody's telling me. Is they were working on either repairing the one that they've got or just building a new one. So apparently, it got approved to build a new one. So it's not. It's a good thing, but it's not like it's.
Now, when I read the article,
it's no big deal, really.
Well, okay, when I read the article, I thought back to something you guys had said, and I thought, I wonder if the reporter got it wrong.
Okay.
Because this is
most likely.
Okay, so just help us.
Nobody said yet.
So just help us understand this. The report said that the new thing, whatever it is, I know it was a weird term.
Fuel farm.
I thought that was weird. Is that always what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what they call it. So now, after this new thing is put in place, pilots will be able to fill their airplanes themselves with hoses rather than waiting for trucks.
They already do that.
That's what I thought I heard you say.
Yes.
And that's where the news article must have gotten it wrong.
Yes, that is a misconception. Okay. There is a lot of airports that have self-serve, and Ocala is one of those that has self-serve. It's completely normal, but still Landmark has to take the fuel from the fuel farm, transport it over to the self-serve, because the fuel farm is outside of the airport. You could not taxi up to the fuel farm and get fuel out of the fuel farm.
Yeah, it's like a mini fuel farm with a hose connected to it.
But right now, is there a hose that you could? Okay,
yeah, from
I
the
see.
Okay.
Well, isn't that what the article? So then the article is right.
No.
We can already do that.
You can already do that. You can never, no matter what you do, most of the time you're not going to have a fuel farm on the airport. Like where somebody can taxi up to the fuel farm
within the fences.
For a couple of reasons. One, you don't want all that fuel right by a bunch of planes.
Really?
And also, most likely you're not going to take prime real estate of an airport, of a taxiway, and put this giant fuel farm. Okay, it just doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't
so what
make
they do
sense.
is they have a fuel farm.
Right.
That's where and that's the other thing too, is you have to have big tanker trucks come in and fuel those fuel farms. You don't want that on the ramp with a giant tanker truck going past all these jets and planes.
So it still sounds like they got something wrong in the article.
They did, because you can already go up to a self-serve tank and fuel, and that's nothing to do with.
What they do is
it's nothing to do with the fuel farm. Fuel farm is just a place where they take fuel from a big truck, put it in smaller trucks.
Well,
that's
I know
it
frustrates you, but this is. I mean, I'm glad you come in.
Brad.
Hey, the airport's in the news a lot lately for some reason.
Well, what they do is big tankers come with fuel in them.
Got it.
They put them in a bigger tank.
Got it.
We call that the fuel farm.
Got it.
All right. We take it out of that, put it into a truck.
Uh-huh.
All right. That runs around the little trucks that run around the airport.
Got that.
All right.
Okay.
Those little trucks fuel the airplane. They also transport fuel over to another little tank that has a self-serve on it. With the credit card machine, you slide your credit card, you fuel up your airplane just like you do at the gas pump. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I remember you said that once before.
Yeah, so we already have the ability to do self-serve fuel. So the article was wrong, saying, "Oh, now they can do that because we already can do that."
Yeah, so I got the right impression that, because I read the article and I thought, well, wait a minute, I remember you guys talking about.
Well, 9 times out of 10 when it comes, or 8 times out of 10 when it comes to media and aviation, they'll get it wrong somewhere.
Oh, okay.
8 times out of 10.
I think it's 8 times out of 10 because honestly, people don't understand and they just draw conclusions.
Well, they should talk to you.
They should.
Well, that's why we're here.
That's why we're here.
Is there somebody online? Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can't explain the entire physics of it, but if two aircraft, like the Blue Angels or Canadian Snowbirds or Air Force Thunderbirds, any demonstration team, two aircraft flying similar course and speed, the closer they get, the harder it gets to touch. It's like trying to, if you're water skiing and you want to cross the wake of the towboat, there's an additional force to be reckoned with. Just the backdraft of one aircraft keeps the other apart. Trading paint would be very difficult. You need a different angle.
Well, It really depends on how fast they're going and everything like that, because the big thing with and what he's saying is true, because to a point, because you have that air or fluid being compressed, which causes a little bit more resistance. But when you're talking about these speeds and that amount of power that these airplanes have, they still need to be very, very, very careful, because a small movement, can cause a pretty horrific crash pretty quick.
Yeah. All right. I thought we had another call, but it's not there. The phone line's open, though, if you want to be in on this and chat with us about some of this stuff. All right. There's a call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, guys.
Hi, Hugh.
Say, with the fuel farm, why don't they put those tanks underground like filling stations where it'd be more safe?
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know why they don't. I don't know if it's an inspection thing.
I think it's an inspection thing.
And because that would be my assumption, because they're inspected a lot.
Yeah.
Like twice a week, aren't they?
What for leaks?
Leaks,
inspected.
corrosion. We're not exactly sure.
I mean, these are highly regulated things. I mean, and so I know that they're inspected constantly, and so I'm sure that has something to do with it. I don't know. I don't know what.
Because you know, like filling station tanks, they can't inspect those because they're in the ground, and they must be made out of some material that they don't worry about them leaking or corroding or something, because they're in there for years before they have to replace them.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. All I know is that these are above ground, and that's where they stay. I don't really know why.
Yeah.
And also, avgas is a lot more corrosive than the fuel that you put in your car is.
Okay.
So that could have something to do with it as well.
Well, you got the Jet A, and I mean it's a very possibility, just of the type of fuel that it is.
Okay. Another quick question: what is the minimum feet that you can fly without what they call like buzzing over a residential area?
Have you been buzzed recently?
No, but not by an airplane. But there has to be a legal minimum level, right?
Yes.
And what would that be about?
The minimum safe altitudes that the Federal Aviation Regulations state is that in a congested area, you must be 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle and at least 2,000 feet horizontal distance from it.
Okay.
All right. And then in other than congested area, you cannot be closer than 500 feet to the surface or another vessel or person or building.
Oh, okay.
Right? They also say in there that you must fly at an altitude that which, if you have an engine failure or a loss of power, an emergency landing can be made without undue hazards to persons or property on the ground.
Yeah. If you're caught breaking that rule, that law, can you? What do you get? Like a ticket or something, or a fine, or a penalty, or
you could lose your license.
It really depends on what the situation is.
Yeah.
They could do anything from suspend your license for a certain amount of time, make you do a what they call a 401 ride.
I think so.
Something like that, where the FAA actually goes up with you to make sure that you are competent in the area that you were cited for. Sometimes there could be a civil penalty, or in the worst case scenario, you lose your license.
Yeah. Another quick question: can you do over a residential area? The reason I'm saying this, in the last couple of weeks, there's been a small plane buzzing around and doing loop-the-loops and this and that, whatnot, up high enough, I believe. But is it illegal to do it above a residential area, or?
The same rules apply.
Okay.
Except for they have to be at least 1,500 feet above the surface in order to do acrobatics.
Okay. So in other words, what I've been witnessing has been there's no problem with that.
No.
Yeah, most likely not.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Yeah, and then the one thing people get confused too is like over water. Technically you can fly lower over water if there's nobody, but you have to be horizontally away from people. So you can't buzz planes, or not planes. You can't buzz boats and that kind of stuff. You have to maintain 500 feet from the nearest vessel. Yes.
Oh, okay. So
and that's horizontal also. It's not just vertical, it's horizontal.
So then when you say water, that would exclude rivers, because you're almost always going to come upon a boat.
Then don't do it. Then you can't buzz a boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
so you could do it on a river
it's not
if
just
there was
vertical,
no
it's
boats.
horizontal also. Huh?
You could do that on over a river if there were no boats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Legally you could. I don't know how smart it would be.
Yeah, right.
Depends on how wide the river is.
But legal is not necessarily smart.
Well, and that's the thing too, is because like he said, you have these rules set in place of the 500 or the 1,000, the 1,500 for aerobatics, but it's also or whatever is safe to where if you have an emergency, you're not going to hurt anybody on the ground. They don't really care about
you. They just care about the people on the ground.
And so you have to think about that is, you may technically be over a congested area and be high enough, but are you safe enough? And that's where the judgment comes in, and you have to teach people to be.
That's kind of the gray area as well. We like to call that the FACYA statement. That if they really wanted to take legal action against you, they could make the claim, hey, you weren't in a position where you could make an emergency landing unless you could prove otherwise. So it's always better to err on the side of caution, especially in aviation.
And looks like you have another phone call. Good morning, you're on the air.
Oh, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I had a question. Now, you were talking about flying over the beach. How about the ultralights? I mean, when they come over, they're cool. I like them when they fly low. They're less than 100 feet off right off of the beach, the sand line, and then they turn around and they come over the beach. They're low, but
Well, the low part is like I said, they can be low, but as long as they're horizontal, they shouldn't be 100 feet high and 100 feet away from people on the beach. And they may be right over the water, but as long as they're 500 feet out.
Yeah. And the other thing to remember is sometimes an aircraft will look a lot lower than it actually is. We had a while back, we had someone call, oh, well, there's an aircraft, 100 feet above my house, and I was flying that day, and it wasn't me, but I saw this other. It was actually a blimp. I saw that blimp, and that blimp was at 1,000 feet.
Wow.
So not 100 feet above the house.
Yeah.
But the blimp is so big. Yeah. And the ultralights aren't necessarily big. But the depth perception from the ground is a lot harder. For example, fireworks. How high would you think fireworks go? Just take a guess.
Well, I know that the homemade ones go 200 feet.
Okay. And the commercial ones?
I don't know. They look a lot higher.
About 300.
Is that right?
Yep. I was actually flying last night, and I saw the fireworks at Disney because I was down in the Orlando area, and I saw them. They only go about 300 feet in the air. Yep. They're a whole lot less impressive from the ground, and it has to do a lot with perspective.
You mean from the air?
Okay.
From the air, yeah, sorry.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Right, you all have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good. We've had some good questions today, and
y'all are smart.
I know. Well, and that was like with the banner towing that you see the people doing over the beach. They may. That's what I was saying. Is you may not be that high over the water, but you have to be a distance away from people. And
Well, and also you don't want to necessarily be right over top of the beach with if you're towing a banner, because no one will see it.
Out far, and but it looks like they're a lot closer because they have this big giant banner, and yeah, they tend to be a lot farther out than you would expect.
Yeah, I miss going to the beach. I should go to the beach this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw some interesting pictures of you that you've been posting on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yes,
oh, the old Robin
pictures.
the Giant stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Yes, I just wanted to say that.
You're old, dude.
I know. What am I gonna do?
Yeah. What did it say? It was like 1950 something.
That's why I miss going to the beach.
I think so, yeah.
That's why I miss going to the beach.
Yeah. The bands.
The older you get, the older you feel at the beach. You don't really feel old until you go to some place where everybody's young. Like, for example, if I go to the Oaks Mall, I feel very old. I go to the Paddock Mall, I'm not so bad.
That would make sense.
I hate them all either way, so...
You love the mall.
You're going to be broadcasting from the mall.
Yes.
Yeah, but... I feel old when I go to the mall, too, sometimes.
But he said
Not
he feels
this mall.
young at Paddock.
You feel young at Paddock?
I think it's because he goes at like 5 a.m. when all the people are walking around.
Oh, could be. Yeah,
Yes. Is that when you go?
I'm sort of speaking from years ago. I haven't been there a long time. So in other words,
so he doesn't even know what he's talking about.
That's right. So it's really
different.
young. It's young people right now. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's gotten back to be cool to go to the mall.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of young people. But it is Florida, and that's kind of the only air-conditioned place to hang out in the summer in Ocala. So. But
you're probably, Josh, the same age as the college. I mean, you're older than college kids, right?
I'm about the same age as graduating colleges.
Okay, so if you went to the Oaks Mall,
it still makes me feel old because I don't relate to the college culture as much as other people my age, and that's partly because I don't go to college. I've been working a job for 2 years. I'm married.
Well, you come across that
all
way,
this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
that's how you come
across. Not saying that I'm better in any way.
No, he's not.
But shut up. I'm talking right now.
Yes, go ahead.
But it's a little bit more difficult for me to relate a little bit because of the different life situations.
Well,
yes, he's an old soul is what he's trying to say.
Well,
yeah.
You can sort of see that.
Can we say like a middle-aged soul? Is that all right? not old.
You're in. Well, yeah. It'll depend on what we're talking about, but I'll go with that. Sure.
Is the scholarship still going on?
The scholarship is still going on. The discovery flights are still going on.
Everything's still going on.
Yes, scholarship good for 17 to 25 years old. $4,000 towards your private pilot's license.
I had someone call the other day about it. Yesterday.
I heard you talking to them.
Well, not about it, but they
told them about it.
I told them about it.
Yes,
because
we're still doing the discovery flights. $99. Go up, fly, good experience.
It is awesome.
And graduation's coming up. Start thinking about good graduation presents.
And you can even make a video and feature your pilot in the video.
Well, that's exactly. A lot of people doing GoPro now. Bring your GoPro.
Think about this. All right. How much do people average, spend on a graduation present? Not cars and stuff, but they spend, what, $200 sometimes.
Yeah, right.
$99 delivers. No, $99 at Ocala Aviation. All right, you get half an hour of flight time, and that's a lot of times a lot more memorable to people than some of these other gifts they get.
That's true. It really is awesome, and I know many of our listeners have done it. So,
yes.
All right, what's your phone number?
I'm not going to tell you my phone number. Oh, sorry. Work phone number 352-861-7484.
That's Ocala Aviation Flight School.
Yes, and OcalaAviation.com.
All right. You guys have a great weekend.
You too.
Thanks for bringing levity to the show.
Absolutely.
To the airwaves, whatever. All right, we'll be right back.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala. The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Life jackets save lives. Wear it, Florida. Times of clouds and sun, breezy and warm today with a shower and thunderstorm around, high 86 to 90. Partly to mostly cloudy and muggy tonight. A shower and thunderstorm or two in the area. Lows ranging from 60 in the northernmost part of the zone to 69 in the south. Tomorrow mostly cloudy, breezy and cooler with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. The highs ranging from 66 in the northern part of the zone to 77 in the southeast. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.